Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us here today. We are brought to you by Russell and Associates and coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to talk Warrior softball. Head coach Greg Jones, thanks for joining us today.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
A good weekend of games, and let's start out by talking about the doubleheader against Bemidji State. What did you see in your team from those games?
A couple good wins, and Bemidji's a tough team. They came in right at 500. But what I really liked with the first win was a mental toughness win, and we haven't had a lot of those this year. Where again, we talk about if we get to 4, we should win, and we've been very successful with that throughout my time here, but especially this year. I don't think we've lost yet when we score 4 runs, but we hadn't won a lot of games when we didn't get to 4.
Sure.
And so we needed to do that, and we got a big 2-1 win there, and played really well, made some pitches, made some plays on defense. Cammie had a couple big hits, drove in 2 runs for us in that game, had the big home run. And then in the second game, we were able to kind of come back and really make an offensive effort. But then I think the story of that game was how well we were able to come out of the bullpen and get some innings out of Skylar, who had a really good game for us. So 2 really good wins, and got to see a couple different things in order to get those wins, which was nice.
Yeah, we don't really talk a whole lot about Skylar, but she has 3 wins on the season. So the other wins are separated between the Abbeys. But what have you seen from Skylar so far this year?
A lot of maturity, a lot of growth, and again, we kind of talked about last week with Abby that we don't use a lot of freshman pitchers. We just haven't had to, and so for her to come in as a freshman and be able to put the innings for us that she has and have the success she has shows a lot of maturity and a lot of toughness on her part. She changes speeds really well. She keeps the ball down. She's got a great changeup, a great drop ball. She's a kid right now that we use kind of just to eat innings, but what we're realizing is she can get people out. And we kind of took the training wheels off her the other day, and when she came in a big spot with the bases loaded, it was, okay, let's just get the ball on the ground, hit a ground ball, get us out of the inning. Well, then once we knew, okay, we've got to cover 4 more innings here, we kind of expanded her repertoire, went to everything, and she really showed us something, which was great.
All right, very good. And then after that, you had Minnesota Crookston. Tell us about those games.
Yeah, another couple wins, and the second game was tight. We had to hit a walk-off to win it. As a coach, you feel like we should have done more than we did. I went back and watched the game then and realized, okay, that kid actually threw the ball pretty well. I think we had 15 fly ball outs, which just felt like we just couldn't square anything up. We just couldn't get a ball in the barrel, and it was so frustrating to watch because it was literally the same result over and over again, and I felt like we weren't changing our process enough. And maybe we were, maybe we weren't. When I went back and watched it, she did throw a nice game. But I think we learned that there's some things we can work on in our process there too. But again, at the end of the day, it was a huge mental toughness win because we could have given away 2 wins this weekend. We could have been 2-2 instead we're 4-0, and I think that says a lot about the mental makeup of our kids.
Yeah, so it's a 6-game winning streak now, and I've been doing this long enough to know that coaches sometimes aren't even satisfied with that. There's still something that you see within your team that you say, oh, we still need to fix that even though we're being successful right now. So what do you see in your team right now, even with a 6-game winning streak, that you think you might need to change?
I think that I'll tell you what I said to our assistant coaches after the game. I said, right now, it kind of feels like there's no joy in winning because we're working so hard to get the wins in games that we think we should win. And so it's really tense because I think it's harder to win in games that you're supposed to win versus the coin flip games. Then it feels really good to win those. So the schedule will change for us now. It'll get a lot tougher, and I think that actually will help us. So I like where we're at. Again, I think our identity is pitching and defense, and the one thing we did early in the conference season, we were scoring a lot of runs, but I didn't want to lose that identity, and I think we proved again this weekend that is our identity. We can get people out, we can make big plays on defense, we can maintain the scoreboard where we want it and give ourselves a chance to win it. Now we can start to put those things together and be a really elite pitching and defensive team, and then go out and put up crooked numbers will be really dangerous. And so I think it's just the ebb and flow of the season. It's a tough league, and sometimes I don't think we overlook anybody. It's just hard to be at that level all of the time, and that's something we're still growing with and learning as a program right now.
All right, so outside of the joy of winning, how do you feel about where the team is right now as you head towards a tougher schedule
Mm-hmm.
and head towards possible playoffs?
Well, I'm glad we are where we are. I would rather be, again, I'd rather learn lessons in victory than defeat. And again, I think what I like is that we're making plays on the defensive side. I think we've got to get a little bit sharper and a little bit cleaner throughout. I think we're giving some things away, but those are all fixable things. And so that's what I like about where we're at. We miss a sign here or there, which again isn't great in the moment, but that's easily repairable. Those are things that are tangible that we can grab onto in practice and get fixed. And if we're winning while making a few of those small mistakes and we fix those things, then we should, theoretically continue to get better and grow as a team. And that's what I like that we're having success doing some things. I like that I can see where the growth needs to come from and that we can do that and then continue to grow and have success as the season goes on.
All right, so you say pitching and defense are the strengths of this team. Have you been pleased, I guess, I don't know if that's the right word, with how your hitting has kind of come around? You're hitting 290 as a team, which maybe is a little low softball-wise, but still is a pretty good number. And I know you said you were a little concerned about that coming into the season, but how do you feel about where the hitting is?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed the turnaround of our offense from the non-conference season to the conference season. I think since conference play has started, not only have our numbers been better, whether you're talking about power numbers, batting average, run production, all that kind of stuff, but our at-bats have been better. What I physically see out of them has been better. They have better balance. We're more clutch. We're getting bigger hits in bigger spots. I think they're more confident and more comfortable at the plate. So that part I have really liked. Again, I think there's areas for growth. You look back at this weekend in a couple of 2-1 games. Again, the game is hard. It's not supposed to be easy. And the game itself isn't what's hard. Overcoming some of the obstacles within the game and at bat, and those things are challenging. And but again, I think there's growth. And as long as we're having growth offensively, I like where we're at. Versus the non-conference season, I just felt we had a lot of non-competitive at-bats, and we would just do the same thing over and over again. We wouldn't adjust. The same pitcher could beat us with one pitch. And versus, again, in that second Bemidji game, this kid had a really good changeup, left-hander with a good changeup. So you're facing two different things, and you've seen, and we knocked her out of the game early. And so I think those are the growth things that have been really good about our offense.
All right, about 30 seconds left in this segment. Minnesota State Moorhead is next. How do you feel you match up?
Yeah, Concordia St. Paul is next for us.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's a tough matchup, and they had a tough weekend. We had a good weekend. I don't know if that matters anymore. I mean, they're just so solid. They're solid everywhere. They're not an elite pitching team or an elite hitting team or an elite speed team. They're just really, really solid. What we're going to have to do with Concordia is we have to go beat them. They're not going to beat themselves. And again, I hope that we can do that. I think we're in line to do that, not necessarily about winning the game, but winning small moments and doing the right thing and putting the right pieces together. So it should be a good game. I think this whole week should be good because I think all three matchups from Concordia to St. Cloud and Duluth are very, very similar, where we have to go out and win games because they're not going to hand anything to us.
All right, so we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report, and when we come back, we'll talk with Cammie Reamer right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We're brought to you by Russell & Associates, coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to get the player perspective. Cammie Reamer joins us. Thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you for having me.
So you're a catcher here at Winona State. You heard what Coach had to say about maybe the joy is gone from winning, and I know that winning has kind of been a tradition at Winona State. Do you find it's harder to accept wins if they're close, or if you have to come back on wins? What's your reaction to what he had to say?
I think that one of the big things here at Winona State is the standard is the standard, and winning games and just being a tough loss is just what the standard has always been. I think that we're doing what it takes to win right now, but I think that, like Coach had already said, that some things need to be cleaned up. It's not necessarily joy is lost. I think it's just we're being a little too hard on ourselves, being a little too perfectionistic, if that's a word. But just kind of taking what the game gives us and doing what we need to do more often is really how we're going to see more joy in little wins like that.
All right. Your career has been kind of interesting here at Winona State because you had to wait a little while to play. You were behind Riley Stout. So tell us a little bit about what that's like to know that you can go out there and play, but yet you have to wait a little bit.
Yeah, so my freshman and my sophomore year, I was behind Riley Stout and now our grad assistant, Allie Nowak, who is an All-American and now is my actual catching coach here at Winona. So it's been a kind of a crazy turnaround for me. I think my first 2 years, knowing that I can play at this level, it's always hard to not play. But it's good to learn from people that are just that good. Allie, Riley are both just such good players and just really nice people. Like, they were always very supportive of me. And now it's really cool getting to learn from Allie and also getting that chance to kind of play myself too. It's been a complete 180. So
yeah, so you've been the next person up and you've performed here at Winona State and done really well. What's that like to finally get that chance and then to be able to see the success that you've seen on the field?
I think it really just comes back to believing in yourself too. Like even as a freshman, I knew if I had a shot that I would perform. It was just a matter of time. And I remember talking to Coach my sophomore, junior year, I just need a shot, Coach. I just need a shot. And you have to wait your turn, and that's fair. I mean, Riley and Al are just really good players. But finally getting that shot and proving myself, it's been a good feeling the last 2 years here.
I imagine it's tough for you, too, to have so much depth on the roster and not be able to get everybody in. What's that like from a coaching standpoint?
Yeah, it's both good and bad. I mean, it's great from a coach to have depth. And so if you have an injury or it's the next man up or somebody just beats somebody out or you have graduation that inevitably comes, you don't just want to be a one-trick pony. You want to have that depth. That's the really good part as a coach. The really bad part as a coach is you have kids who believe in themselves, who are talented, who aren't playing. And you worry the longer they don't play, the more they start to doubt themselves or they walk away from the program because, again, especially on the female side in athletics, these kids have been starting for their high school team since they were in 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade. And so sitting on the bench is a brand new process for them. And their highlight film in their head says, I'm good enough to do this. And they watch somebody else in front of them not batting 1,000 or not batting 500, and they think, I can go they're not doing it, I can do this. And you need them to have that type of faith in themselves and that type of belief in themselves. Yet you've got to trust the whole process and the standard and who's doing what. And so it's both a blessing and a curse, and I'd rather have really quality depth than not have any depth, but it makes it challenging, and as long as kids can handle it and manage it, and we can have really open and honest conversations with one another, then I think it all works out.
All right, catching is obviously a very difficult position on a softball team. What do you think your strengths are as a catcher?
I think one of my strengths personally is I handle pitchers very well. I think we have really good pitchers. I think I have really good relationships with all 3 of our pitchers, even all 4 of our pitchers that we have on staff right now. We have very different pitchers, while Abby Halas throws a lot of up and a little bit harder than Abby Smith, while Abby Smith keeps it down low, kind of junk ball almost, and Skylar's even more of a junk ball pitcher, I would say. But I think just handling pitchers, getting strikes for my pitchers is one of the areas that I excel at behind the plate.
And then what's the communication like between you and the coaching staff? Because obviously you're kind of like a coach out there on the field because you have to handle the pitchers and the pitching staff and handle the fielding situations. What's that like for you?
I think just being a general, understanding how awesome our defense is in general. Like, we have great pitching, we have a good coaching staff, we have people just know the game so well. Just making sure communication is clear and just talking things through before they happen and understanding what everyone's role is, that we are a good club, we can communicate very well, but that comes from our coaching staff and just kind of leading that, so they do a great job.
All right, last question for you. You had a really good past couple of games, some good contact at the plate. What was it like for you these past couple of games to play?
It was fun. I mean, when you go 5 for 6 in a weekend, it's a good day. But I think this past week, really just taking what the game gives me. Coach is always saying, take what the game gives you, and that's kind of what I saw happen on, I believe, Friday. So I was just taking what the game gave me, and it worked out.
All right. Well, I appreciate the time here,
Thank
and
you.
Congratulations on what you've done so far. Good luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, we'll talk baseball with head coach Seth Wing right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on HBC TV 25. We are brought to you by Russell & Associates, coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Time now to talk baseball with head coach Seth Wing, and it was a really good week for you guys. As we said, we've been looking for you guys to get back on track, and I think for the most part, except for that one game against Mary, you really did this week. Tell us what you saw from your team this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Saw a little bit of everything, actually, which is kind of what you expect when you combine a lot of games there. But setting the tone, getting the sweep against Bemidji on Wednesday. Really tough conditions, very cold, windy. They came out, they threw a really nice arm. He actually no-hit us through 5 innings, or 4 innings and change. But the guys just stuck together, and they battled and they battled and they put pressure on them in the bottom of the 7th to get a big 5 spot and get the comeback victory. So it was great to see the resiliency from the team there in a tough moment against a team that we should beat, and we did. Mm-hmm. And so then in game 2, the offense just really opened up, and great pitching all day long from Peyton Lee and Peter Twitty were just fantastic on Wednesday. Really, really much needed big starts for them. So it was a big sweep. Definitely propelled us to the weekend, and our momentum kept going from there.
One of the old cliches in baseball is you don't want to give up get all your runs in one game. And that's 16-1 win over Bemidji State. Do you ever worry about anything like that?
Yeah, you definitely you want to spread out the wealth throughout the week, but it was just good to see our offense take off. After that, just getting that comeback victory just propelled us, and I sensed that would be coming, and we certainly did. So I'm gonna take them. We're gonna take them all, and they all count. So it was good to see.
All right, and then the Mary series, you had 3 against Mary. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, what a series that was. Again, a little bit of everything. Again, a huge comeback in the bottom of the 7th inning, down 2. We get a 2-run home run to tie it by Nick Herbst there. Justin Furpo gave us a great start, kept us in the game, but we were down 4-2 going in the bottom of the 7th. We get a 2-run home run, and then multiple singles in a row to get the walk-off in the bottom of the 7th by Steele Beatty. And it was just good to see our seniors took over that game with Justin on the mound, and then Nick in the 2-run home run, and then you had Derek, Cooper, and Steele, all 3 seniors get back-to-back hits to get the walk-off win. So that was huge. We needed that game big time just because we got the start that we needed. And so I was just these guys are resilient. We have a group of seniors that just don't want to lose. And I'm proud of them because they have to get us out all 21 times in the 7-inning games, and obviously 27 in the 9-inning games. And we played tough to the final out, which is great. So unfortunately, our momentum stopped pretty quick there. Game 2 got ugly right away. We ran out of steam, and our pitching, it was one of it's our game that we're piecing together right now. Usually Bailey Banazinski starts that game, and he's taken some time away right now just to give his arm a break. Mm-hmm. And so we hope to get him back here in the coming weeks. So we just had to spot start it and just bullpen it, and sometimes that can get out of control, and it certainly did. So and then game 3 against Mary, it was just again, overall gutsy performance by our team. We actually started off really slow. Our defense really failed us, quite frankly. Our infield play was horrendous, giving up some 3 early runs early in the 2nd inning. But then we just got the lockdown pitching there with Pierce Gritzmaker starting and just doing such a good job of keeping us in the game while our defense was getting its feet underneath of us and our offense started getting going as well. So Kyle Gendron came in relief and just absolutely dominated them for 4 innings and got the win, and we needed that so bad. Again, another senior who is just taking over and really giving us a great chance to win ball games. So great group of guys, and the momentum's starting to roll now, so we got to keep it going.
Yeah, and you're starting to move up in the standings a little bit too, which is nice, getting closer to 500, which is also another
Yeah.
really good thing for that. I mean, what is the mood of the team right now as you're playing maybe some of your best baseball of the year?
Yeah, the momentum's going, and baseball is all about it. Sport is all about it, and so if we can keep this momentum going and just work through when we do have let the momentum slip. Hopefully, those momentum slips are fewer and further between, and so that's going to be the thing is as we carry our momentum into the back half of this conference season. The team's in a great spot right now. We're still a little banged up on the mound, but we're just battling through, and guys are coming in and getting great, situational innings. Cole Stanchina came in and got a situational couple outs, picked up a victory in game 1 against Mary, and David Zoichis has come in big leverage situation and close some games out. Everyone's contributing, and it's just really exciting. And so as that snowball continues to roll and get bigger and bigger, we should be in really good shape here moving forward.
All right, I want to ask about Derek Baumgartner here for a moment because he's been on a tear, and since he's not here, we can talk about his hitting a little bit. But he's currently tied for 9th best batting average in a single season in Warrior history, which is just amazing. And I keep seeing 4 for 4, 5 for 5, incredible numbers. Tell us what you've seen from him.
Yeah, this is something special, and he's locked in. He's seeing the ball really well. He's got a very aggressive approach. I think he was passive last year. He just was work counts, and we talked about being aggressive this year. He's been in attack mode, and I've loved it. And honestly, I haven't seen anything like this sort of stretch in a long time. Ben Barone in 2007 was absolutely mind-boggling with those numbers and his power numbers, but Derek's just getting doubles all the time. I call him Double Derek. He has just been phenomenal, and I'm just so proud of him because he deserves this. He's worked very hard and has been a great leader for us, but it's pretty special what he's doing right now.
All right, about 2 minutes left, so let's talk about what's coming up. Southwest is next. Tell us how you match up against them.
This is going to be interesting with these middle week games, and they actually were coming off the bye, and then they had their midweek games canceled last week, so they haven't played in a while. I kind of like that in a sense that we've played a lot of games, we've kept our rhythm going and our feel for the game. They're going to be fresh. But also their feel for the game might be just take an inning or two to get their feet underneath them. So I like this midweek matchup here with Southwest. We'll have Peyton Lee and Peter Twider going for us on the mound, and they've just been pitching as good as anyone for us lately. So I'm really excited about that. And then we'll get back on the road potentially here for the first time, and I can't even remember, quite frankly. I think March 18th when we went to Boston. But that being said, we'll be heading to Concordia St. Paul. And with us, Concordia and Southwest, we're all right in that middle of the conference, either looking to go up or go down as far as the standings go. So they'll be very pivotal games, these 5 games.
Do you think there will have to be any kind of adjustment to playing on the road after not having done it in a while?
It'll be interesting. I think our guys are excited, actually, to get back on the bus, and they love the idea of playing at Concordia. It's a hitter-friendly park, so our hitters definitely want to play there.
All right, very good. Thank you for that, and good luck in the games this week.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Warrior Report. When we come back, Kyle Gendron will join us right after this. And welcome back to the Warrior Report here on TV 25. We are brought to you by Russell & Associates, coming to you from the 111 Riverfront Building, the Latch Development Center in downtown Winona. Kyle Gendron is now our guest. Thanks for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Kind of bookends here. We had you your freshman year, and now your senior year at Winona State. You've been through a lot here at Winona State. How would you sum up your career?
I would say, to sum it up, just take advantage of any day that you're able to get out on the field and play the best of your abilities, and don't take any of it for granted because it goes quick, and a lot of things happen where you're not going to be able to be out there, so definitely just take advantage of it when you can, for sure.
Is that kind of the thought for coming back for your 5th year here at Winona State, is that to have one more year and to be able to play?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say everyone here, there's 13 of us seniors, and there's a lot of us here for a 5th year where I just don't think any of us are ready to give it up yet. We've put forth a lot of time and effort in our careers, and if we're going to be given the opportunity to play for one more year, I think pretty much all of us were on board to take advantage of it and get back here for another one.
All right, it's kind of been a roller coaster for you in your time here at Winona State. I think your freshman year you pitched 50 or so innings, and then since then you kind of had some injuries that have kind of hampered things. Tell us what those injuries were and what it was like to kind of battle back from that.
So freshman year I had a clean year, and sophomore year we got shut down from COVID. My junior year I had Tommy John surgery. Last year I was able to get a pretty semi-normal year coming back from Tommy John, so a little late start, but that was a good year to have. And then this year I've been a little banged up in the shoulder, but just finding ways to work through it and be able to get up on the mound once a week. So
We hear a lot about Tommy John surgery, but from your perspective, what was it like to come back from that? And what were some of the things you had to do? Because I know that's a thing you can't rush. You just have to let it play out. And what was that like for you?
it was a grind for sure. I mean, the first time I came back throwing after the surgery was 15 feet, and I could barely get the ball that far. So it's basically just starting to rethrow again, learn how to find the arm slot and everything. So it was a grind, but I've had a lot of great help from the coaches and the trainers and friends and teammates here to get through that. So there's been a lot of people that helped me be able to get back up on the mound.
All right, and what's that like from the coaching staff perspective? Because I know Kyle Pope talked about it last year too, but what's it like to try to manage somebody that wants to be out there, but you can't put them out there all that often?
Right, and it's certainly hard as a coach, and you see someone of Kyle's talent. You obviously want him to be able to contribute whenever possible. And I'll give a lot of credit to Coach Riley and Coach Carlson, who have been handling our pitchers, and we've been very patient with Kyle and working with him when the moment's right. And if you see his stats, you're going to see a lot of wins because he pitches in very pivotal moments, because we know we can only get 3-4 innings out of him a week. So we put him in there in pretty critical situations, which has worked out very well for us to date. But it certainly takes a lot of patience as a coaching staff, and all the credit goes to our guys that I work with the pitchers, Coach Carlson and Coach Riley.
All right, what's it like to be trusted in that sort of role coming out of the bullpen in pivotal situations?
It's definitely a confidence booster when you know that people have your back and they believe in you and they want you to be out there. So that definitely helps going out there, especially when you can't get out there as much as you want. You can't work on as much as you want because you can't throw much during the week. That the confidence is a big part of it, that people are believing in you and you kind of get the job done.
All right, and you had a good appearance this week. Tell us what that was like on the mound and what you were seeing.
Yeah, it just felt good to be out there. It was nice out, and I felt good. My pitches were doing what I wanted them to do, so it was good. We needed the win, and we got the win, so can't ask for much more.
All right, as you head towards this week and the games that follow and possible playoffs after that, what are some of the things that you think this team needs to do now to keep this momentum going and to keep this roll going?
I just think we need to keep doing what we're doing. The hitters are really starting to come together, and we have some guys that are really starting to carry our team through it. So I just think we got to keep showing up every day, giving our best effort, sticking with it, and I think that we're going to go a long ways. All
right, and last thing for you personally, going through the injuries and going through things, have you had to pick up different pitches? Have you had to learn different pitches? Or have you been able to use everything that you had your freshman year? I've pretty much stuck with the fastball, changeup, slider. So, yeah. It works, don't you? Yeah. Exactly. All right. Well, thank you. I appreciate the time, and congratulations on what you've done so far in your career, and good luck the rest of the season. Yeah, thanks for having me. All right. Thank you. And thank you for watching the Warrior Report. We'll see you next time here on HBC TV 25.